Welcome back to the channel, folks. If you spend enough time running drills and pounding steel out here on the range, you figure out pretty fast that revolvers fall into two distinct camps. You have your heirloom pieces that look real pretty sitting on a velvet display cloth, and then you have the absolute battering rams built for the apocalypse. Ruger has always been in the business of building handheld artillery pieces that refuse to quit, and today we are zeroing in on their heavyweight title holder, the GP100. A lot of newer shooters walk past this workhorse in the display case, completely unaware of the battlefield pedigree hiding inside that thick steel frame. We are talking about shared DNA with elite European tactical units. We are talking about a defensive tool so ridiculously overbuilt that it sparked a literal advertising war with Smith & Wesson. Today I am going to pull this beast apart and show you exactly why it remains incredibly relevant for self-defense, even in a modern market completely flooded with polymer striker-fired pistols. So, grab your eye and ear protection, step up to the firing line, and let us get into it. The working-class hero. Roots in the Security 6. To understand why the GP100 is built like a bank vault, we have to rewind the clock. Back in 1972, the wheelgun market was basically an exclusive country club. Law enforcement officers were mostly carrying the Smith & Wesson Model 19 or the Model 66. And if you had deep pockets, you flexed on everyone with a premium Colt Python. Ruger decided to kick those country club doors down by dropping the Security 6. Their strategy was absolutely brilliant. Build a duty gun that was infinitely tougher and sell it for a fraction of the cost. Instead of using a fragile side plate held together by tiny, easily stripped screws, they cast a single, solid piece of steel for the frame. That unmatched structural rigidity immediately caught the attention of serious gunfighters, especially the guys running the rugged terrain of the southern border. Ruger even offered a 9mm version way before the tactical world embraced the concept of semi-auto calibers in a cylinder. But as an instructor, I will be the first to tell you the harsh reality about the Security 6. It was a phenomenal tool, but it had a distinct physical ceiling. If you constantly pounded high-pressure 357 Magnum through it, year after year, that frame would eventually start to show its age and shoot loose. Ruger engineers saw that limitation, and they decided their next defensive platform would not just be durable, it would be utterly indestructible. Forging the heavyweight. Enter the GP100. By the time the early 1980s rolled around, the mission at Ruger headquarters was crystal clear. They wanted a duty-ready wheel gun that could eat an endless diet of maximum velocity 357 Magnum without flinching or losing timing. When the GP100 finally hit the shelves in 1985, it completely changed the landscape of American firepower. They added massive amounts of steel to the sidewalls of the receiver. They drastically thickened the top strap to contain explosive chamber pressures. And they introduced a heavy, full-length underlug right below the barrel. I can tell you from countless range sessions that underlug is your absolute best friend when you are shooting heavy defensive loads. It acts like a physical counterweight, driving the muzzle downward so you can get your front sight back on target for a blisteringly fast follow-up shot. Gripping this gun feels like you are holding a piece of heavy construction equipment. They also perfected the transfer bar safety mechanism, which is absolutely critical for anyone carrying this weapon for self-defense. You can carry all 6 chambers fully loaded with zero anxiety. If this gun falls out of your holster and hits the asphalt right on the hammer, it physically will not discharge. The trigger must be intentionally pressed all the way back to the rear to fire. Combine that drop-safe ingenuity with heavy-duty coil springs, and you have a modular, fail-proof powerhouse. The unlikely alliance. European DNA here is a fascinating piece of tactical history that most self-proclaimed experts completely miss. This heavy slab of American steel actually shares a direct bloodline with European law enforcement. During the late 1970s, French tactical police units were desperately looking for a new service sidearm. They idolized the Magnum R73, but those precision instruments require hundreds of hours of manual hand fitting. They are gorgeous but way too expensive to issue to an entire nationwide police force. So, the French reached out across the pond and partnered with Ruger to figure out a budget-friendly solution. The result of that alliance was a hybrid project known as the MR88. It took the raw, unyielding American ruggedness from the Ruger frame and mated it flawlessly with precision French barrel making. While the French were busy outfitting their street cops, Ruger took all that research and development back home. They doubled down on refining their proprietary investment casting process for the American civilian market. By pouring molten steel into a single massive mold, they bypassed the need for delicate, incredibly expensive machining. So, while the French went with a refined hybrid, Ruger decided to build the GP100 like a heavily armored tank ready for a war zone. The secret sauce. Triple locking reliability. If you want to know why this specific gun never quits, we have to get under the hood and talk about the lockup. Most standard defensive revolvers anchor the cylinder in just 2 places, usually at the rear of the cylinder and maybe up front by the tip of the ejector rod. Ruger engineers looked at that industry standard and completely rejected it. They designed a proprietary system that locks the cylinder tight at the front, the rear, and straight into the bottom of the frame. This 3-point triangulated lockup ensures that the chamber stays perfectly aligned with the forcing cone, no matter how fast or violently you are pulling that trigger. Now listen closely, because I see this happen all the time with new shooters at the gun counter. You pick up a brand new GP100, check the cylinder lockup, and feel a tiny bit of wiggle. Do not panic, and do not run to the internet forums to complain. That microfloat is a deliberate, brilliant piece of mechanical engineering. It gives the bullet just enough grace to center itself perfectly as it jumps the gap and enters the barrel rifling. Unlike a tightly fitted custom revolver that chokes the second it gets dirty, this Ruger is designed to keep running in the absolute worst conditions. You can blast through thousands of rounds of blazing fast, plus P ammunition, coat the entire internal action in carbon, and it will still cycle flawlessly to save your life. The Hamburger War. Frame architecture. Let us dive right into the legendary bitter rivalry between Ruger and Smith & Wesson. It all comes down to how the frame architecture is actually designed. Smith & Wesson uses a traditional side plate, which means they cut a massive window into the side of the receiver, drop the internal parts in, and screw a flat plate over it. Ruger eliminated that concept completely. The GP100 is built around a continuous unbroken loop of ordnance-grade steel. Because there is no hole cut into the side of the receiver, there is absolutely nowhere for the frame to stretch, flex, or warp under massive internal pressure. Ruger knew they had the vastly superior design, and they ruthlessly taunted Smith & Wesson in vintage print magazines. Smith & Wesson actually got so offended by this flex that they ran a retaliatory ad comparing the thick Ruger frame to a fat, greasy hamburger patty. They claimed their elegant forged guns did not need all that extra bloated weight, and while a tuned Smith & Wesson trigger is a genuinely beautiful thing, the Ruger design wins the field maintenance war effortlessly. If your GP100 gets submerged in a muddy creek during a defensive encounter, you just drop the entire trigger group out from the bottom of the frame as one single modular piece. No tiny screws to strip or lose in the dirt. No complicated gunsmithing tools required. It is battlefield maintenance at its absolute finest. Ergonomic dominance. The grip peg. Another massive, undeniable advantage this platform holds is the grip design. Most classic-duty revolvers have a full steel backstrap that completely dictates how the gun fits into your hand. If the metal frame does not fit your palm correctly, you are basically out of luck and forced to compromise your grip. Ruger threw that traditional rulebook right out the window. They replaced the full metal backstrap with a simple, heavy-duty metal peg extending downward. This means the rubber or wood grip completely surrounds the metal structure. When you touch off a high-pressure defensive round, you have a thick, continuous cushion of shock-absorbing material protecting the bones in your hand. It drastically reduces the felt recoil impulse. Plus, it allows you to completely customize the ergonomics of the gun in seconds. You can bolt on a tiny, minimalist concealed carry grip for hiding it under a jacket, or you can swap to a massive, contoured target grip for a comfortable range day. By removing that unnecessary metal in the grip area, Ruger was able to redistribute that heavy steel to the critical areas of the frame that actually take the explosive stress of firing. The ultimate multi-tool. Caliber versatility. While the .357 Magnum is the undisputed, reigning king of this platform, this gun can wear a lot of different tactical hats. Ruger has chambered this beast in almost every caliber you can imagine over its lifespan. You can easily find it chambered in .327 Federal Magnum, which is an absolute powerhouse sleeper caliber that bumps your capacity up to 7 rounds for self-defense. If you are an old-school big bore fanatic, they make a dedicated 5-shot version in .44 Special. They even produce a heavy 10-shot model chambered in .22 Long Rifle, which I highly recommend to my students as the ultimate recoil-free training tool for mastering that heavy double-action trigger press. But for the modern tactical shooter, the 10mm auto version is the real showstopper. It utilizes stamped steel moon clips to reliably extract those rimless semi-auto cartridges. If your primary everyday carry setup is a Glock 20 or a custom 1911 chambered in 10mm, this Ruger makes the absolute perfect backup companion system. It absorbs the violent, snappy recoil of full-power 10mm without breaking a sweat, giving you a completely different, ultra-reliable delivery system for your favorite defensive caliber. Look, let us address the elephant in the room regarding the overall aesthetics of this firearm. The GP100 is never going to win a beauty contest against a classic high-gloss blued revolver from the golden era. It is thick. It is unapologetically chunky. It looks exactly like a heavy-duty power tool. A lot of guys at the local gun counter will tell you it completely lacks the finesse of the vintage classics. But if you are a serious defensive shooter, you look at this gun and see absolute, unflinching reliability. Ruger kept those utilitarian, rugged law enforcement vibes intact for a very specific, calculated reason. It was not built to be pampered in a safe. It was engineered to be slammed into door frames, carried through pouring rain, dropped in the mud, and trusted to save your life in the absolute worst conditions imaginable. When you are drawing your weapon to violently defend your family, you do not care how pretty the polished bluing is. You care that it goes bang every single time you pull that trigger. And in that department, this heavy American anvil has absolutely no equal on the modern market. If you guys got some solid value out of this deep dive into American firepower, do me a huge favor and smash that like button right now. Make sure you hit subscribe so you do not miss our next honest tactical breakdown. And jump down into the comment section and let me know your thoughts. I want to hear about your experiences running these heavy steel workhorses on the range. Stay safe out there, keep your situational awareness dialed in, and keep on shooting.